Take it away.
All right. The schwa sound is written with a symbol that looks like an upside down E. And this little upside down E character is responsible for so much confusion in both reading and spelling. Let's start with the basics. What is a schwa? So a schwa is a vowel sound. It is actually an alternate pronunciation of the typical short vowel sounds. So instead of the expected sound, the vowel makes a schwa. And a schwa usually sounds like a short U or short I, so or I. The schwa sound can replace any the vowels, which is probably the reason that it is actually the most common vowel sound in English. So let's take a look at some schwas in action, replacing typical vowel sounds with the schwa sound. In the word accomplish, the short A, which should say is changed to accomplish. In problem, right? We don't say problem, we say problem. The short E, which should say is changed to problem. The short I is changed in denim. The short O in bottom. The short U in support. Now I know what you're thinking. Short U says doesn't it already just say so what's the difference between a schwa and a short U? Stay tuned, friends. And the Y, which, thanks to our Greek friends, today is playing the role of a vowel, goes from analysis, analysis. So the most important thing to know about a schwa is that it only occurs in unstressed syllables. That's why we say, be like the schwa, it's never stressed. In fact, it occurs in most unstressed syllables, which brings me back to that short U conundrum. Short U says, schwa says, how do I know the difference and doesn't matter? A short U in an unstressed syllable is a schwa if it is shorter and less pronounced than the typical short U sound. Take a moment and say the words chum and support. See if you can feel the difference between those sounds.
Chum, support.
Did you
Chum.
feel how it takes more effort to say the short U sound in chom, even my face, chom, versus support? Now, does it matter if you know the difference? Well, here's a little bit of good news. No, probably not, because it's not going to affect your decoding or your spelling. It's still the letter U, so that's probably not going to throw kids off. So the schwa, you might have heard this before referred to as the lazy vowel sound. And the reason for that is because it is the shortest vowel sound. It requires the least amount of effort to produce compared to all of the other vowel sounds. Think again about linguistic distance. If the way that we speak, if the language of print and our spoken language don't match up, and it doesn't match those expected phonics patterns, we may have difficulty with reading and spelling. Teaching schwa helps to explain why vowels sometimes do not make the sound we expect them to, rather than just saying, I don't know, English is crazy. And if you walk away with one thing from today, please remember this. Never tell students that English is crazy and unpredictable. That's the worst thing that kids should walk away from, because then they don't even want to try to learn it. If they feel like if they feel like they're up against an impossible system, they won't attempt to learn. So this is one of the ways we can explain it's not crazy, there's a reason, and let me show you why. Or when a student spells lemon with a U, or as Judith mentioned with the lesions, vegetable, we're taking out a whole syllable. That not only did the vowel get schwad, the whole syllable got schwad right on out of there. So instead of being vegetable, there's a schwa again at the end. So that's especially tricky. Spelling with schwas is really tricky because when students hear that schwa sound, it gives them no clue about how to spell it other than, well, maybe it's a short U or a short I.